So a nice, quick and simple way of presenting photographic evidence for you to show something to your students or your students to perhaps submit something to you as evidence that they've done something is just to use a PowerPoint and a new transition that appeared in a PowerPoint recently called morph. So you can see here I've got a simple presentation. It's only got one slide, and all I've done here is I've just shrunk the size of the slide down so I can get myself some space around the outside of the slide so I can actually place some other pictures I want to use. So all I've done here on this first slide, I'll just zoom it back up so you can see, is I've just placed on an image over the top of, the kind of standard title that you get on a PowerPoint slide. And I've just inserted a text box here and just typed in a description of what's going on in that image. So the reason I've placed these at the side is because PowerPoint has this thing called morph, which allows you to morph what's going on your first slide into what's going on your second slide. So this is just a static image, again with a static text box. But what I want to be able to do is then move with a nice transition into the second one. Now you could use one of the existing transitions that's already here and they work okay. But the easiest way to do this is if I duplicate a slide, what I can then do is then I can move another picture. Now, if it's behind, all you have to do is right click and bring it to the front. So I'm going to plonk this picture on top of this one, just slightly resize it so it's roughly the same. Now, I'm not going to completely stretch this to fit the slide because it's likely to become a bit distorted. Now I'm going to go to picture format and I'm going to align that in the center so I know I've got it bang in the middle. And I need to be able to change this as well now because this is slightly different activity going on here. So I'm going to change to something else. Okay, and again, if I was to just click on here and go to shape format, I get the option to just align that in the center. So I know it's bang in the middle. So this is how morph works. You don't need the morph on the first slide because there's nothing obviously to morph into that first slide, but we do want something to morph into this second slide. So we go to transitions and we choose morph. And we can kind of see how it begins to work here. So if I just go to slideshow, do that from the beginning, you can see my pictures there, checking the oil levels. And when I press this morph transition, it brings this new picture in over the top and changes the text down there at the bottom. So I might want to just on this second slide move attention away from the picture that's behind because I can still see bits of it. So I've got a couple of choices. I can either remove it completely. So if I was just to take it off like this, for example, this time when I view the show, okay, one disappears and the other one comes on as one slide morphs into the other. You might be happy with that. Or what we could do perhaps is go to picture format up here and maybe just change the color, for example, to make it a bit more black and white, or just have it fade into the background. So this time there's my original image, checking the oil levels. And as I move into my second image, the first one kind of disappears, the focus goes away, and then the new one comes on. You can also add morph to the text. So if I was to click on the text, go back into transitions here, I've got these effect options and I can tell it that I want to morph the words as well. Okay, so you can see what happens now is that the picture morphs, but also the writing at the bottom morphs at the same time. And you can just continue this idea, okay? So if I was just to then duplicate this slide, then I could, bring it in from the top or from the bottom. I want, obviously, put that on the top. I want this one to come in. And again, it's not quite covering, but I can align that in the center again. But because it's covering the picture underneath, I'm still getting the blurred out bit there in the background. Or I could, like we did before, could just remove it completely and then change this text to whatever's going on here. Something, I don't know, along those lines. All right, and if I just select this shape format, make sure it's in the middle again. All right, and I just want to now go slideshow from beginning, and then the first one morphs in, and then the second one morphs in, and the other one in the background disappears. So it's a fairly nice. I will just put some effect options on the words. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you could do it for characters, but you can see it does this kind of weird thing, which might be a little bit distracting. So as it moves, see from one to the other, it jumps about a little bit. So the transition from the first one to the second one is okay. From the second one to the third one, it generally again is okay. But you may not like the way that these letters kind of move around, or you might. It's entirely up to you. But the option to do these things is fairly straightforward, and you can just keep duplicating these and using these morph transitions if you want to. Or like I say, if you just want something quick and simple, you could just use one of the existing transitions that isn't morph, and then once you're finished, you just click on export here and create a video, and it will then export this for you as an MP4 so that you can submit that to the moderator as a video clip rather than a PowerPoint presentation. And if you wanted to put some music on the back of this, it really is just a case of inserting some audio. And if you've already got a sound file, it will ask you where it is, and then you get the option to have that run for the entire show or just to run on the back of an individual slide. Or if you want students to be able to narrate what's going on in these pictures to describe what they've actually done, then you could just record audio straight onto that slide, and you get a little speaker that appears here so you can see there's audio on that slide as well. So hopefully that's been of some help.